Hi, everyone. So we're gonna go part 4 for Boston Harbor and the Tea Party. We're gonna leave off where everything was. Um, and that is the word where they actually started, like around 1789. We're gonna leave off where everything was. And it really didn't mean anything, and it really didn't mean any saying. It meant something different. And like I've said in my other videos, like my accent changes every so often. It's because of my life experiences. And that was how it would all start too in the Revolutionary War and during like the Civil War. We've been trying to do a tie-in on how everything was so connected all the way through the Salem witch trials to where it was something of a current day of a true deep dive where things in our life make a little bit more sense what's going on because we're in the middle of a huge disrupt. So with the Golden Tarot, we're gonna see where in mediumship they're going to allow us to do these things and as psychic work because there was a lot of blocking, especially when we got to the point where they were ingesting pyrite. And that's is what they were showing me, especially with a what they call a back page remote view of how they were getting criminal acts done and how it was taxation without representation. So the first one is that they still allude to that the struggle was hard, but it really wasn't a struggle either. And then when they're seeing me, someone named Max is coming in and says, you just can't put it down. You just can't put it down. And struggle meant it wasn't a stronghold and it wasn't a manhandle or anything like that. But it really was hard. It really was. And Max, what do you mean by hard? It was a pertinence order. Now, the only thing that I remember from my life experience being almost 38 years old, a pertinence order is something that's so criminal, but so low key criminal. You can't believe how much havoc smoking illegal marijuana can do. But it wasn't marijuana that they were doing, he's showing me. It wasn't a leaf and it wasn't loose leaf. It literally was a rock. And we're like, well, is it crystal meth? And it's not crystal meth, but it was pertinent. And that's all you need to know. So when we go to that max extreme strength, you have to say, where was the deceit? Where was the lying? And let's talk about lying. From what I have seen, that lying is when they take a pertinence order or they take something of an explosive power, whatever is meant to cause the havoc, it's lied down. And that's all you need to know. So it is like huge naivety when they do it. It's usually very young and they're very emotional when they do these type of criminal acts. So when you go down to Independence Hall and you look and they're watching the paper and they're watching the candles and the candelabra and everything had to be done at night is because they were doing something to solidify. And it seemed grandiose, but they were not. They were so clear-minded, amped to where they were called visionaries. And they were visionary because their soul was amped. They were cleared out so hard that they could plant something so small with a word and it would still carry through. And that was the power of their magic. It was so set in stone, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, because they did it so well. And it wasn't illegal back then. It really wasn't. It's all they could do. And when someone is that amped but not using illegal substances. That means it was high impedance and insult, and they're going to fix a do. So the Page of Wands means it was fiery often. It was a new, it was something of a young acting, but they weren't teamwork. But I'm do seeing a type of teamwork. I really do. I don't see a lot of contrain to containing, but I do see an issue with like a type of train. I definitely see the Civil War. I don't see the Civil War. They are seeing, they're showing me train meant something else in the Revolutionary War, and they don't want to talk about it. But it broke up a lot of partnerships. It broke up a lot of partnerships, whatever they were doing. So these businesses were so steadfast, you couldn't do anything without a no. And I'm seeing an NO to a knock it out, a KNO to a KNOW. They were quick. They were quick when they found it. And you could not complete anything. So when criminals, they can't complete anything, they conjure. They conjure. They literally conjure. Now, when the soul conjures, it literally stirs everything up like a mixing bowl. And that is my experience from studying religions. And it puts them such into a solitude, hermit mode. Everyone, even them, becomes at a crossroads, at a type of hostage peril. You can't steal anything, and you can't sell yourself. That's what the Queen of Pentacles says. But you can steal. It all depends on the stealing. Yep, on the spelling. It really is a lover's domain. And we say spell it. Spell lovers. Because there's land lovers, and lovers to lovers, LUV. That is where their balances literally came through, is when they would sit there alone and they would conjure something up, and they would do it well, and they would sit intuitively because they would regain at rest and literally go forward with it. It would cause a halt stop. It would cause disappointment. So now in mediumship, they're showing me the actual United States in a vision. And with taxation without representation, it meant such a hardness you couldn't understand. It would be hardship. And they would roll their eyes. Great. Yep. And they would go back to another meeting. Yep. There was no logic behind it. They would just do it. They would just do it. They were content. They got it out. When people practice certain things in any affiliate or religious practices, which when they declare a war, they go to the extremes, to their eating habits, to their hydration habits, to their daily life habits to make it work with no due date in hand. Now, it's not condemning or throwing any religion under the bus, because all have been successful in helping win wars for those who need it. It is struggle. The relief from this 10 of Wands in reverse, the severe form of it, has to come with contractual matters. So let's talk about how they reinstated something that they didn't want, because they just broke it off with the king. and then they put a presidency in. They're pretty apathetic. This was in 1789. They had been doing this for 200 years. Are they addicted to this? Is this greed? No, we have to run it. We have to run it. Do you understand? And those were the words back then. We have to run it. But how do we make it legal and lawful? Perth, noth, and pertinence. It literally means as it comes, as it goes, and it goes away. And that was from mediumship. It really ended a lot of things. So how did they do it? It went to where criminals were only supposed to do penance and taxation. Yes. And then they went to the play on words. So now only the criminals do the taxes. And that's quite an insult today. You can't even like break up that path anymore at whatsoever. It's so unhappy on what they do. It has caused through this run, and it was a glip this week of a reminder of a remembrance be that it's gonna cause monetary imbalance to where nobody could start a business. Nobody could maintain a business. Nobody could do anything. Do you walk away or do you actually make a turning point? And that was the questions that they had back then. That was the true questions. Now I'm digging on, there was more to this. What is relevant that we need to know about the Boston Harbor and the Tea Party and the Revolutionary War, to where it linked with Betsy Ross and Paul Revere, and then also the Salem witch trials, because I'm hearing lament in the TV. I'm hearing witch hunt. All you need to know is that old habits die hard. That is where people get insecure, because we have been educated that witchcraft to high priestess to many things is illegal. But when you look at UCMJ and you look at the Constitution and many laws and addendums, believe it or not, if you research hard, a 4812 addendum to a 9812 in the state of Connecticut, which is law, which means you're allowed to do what they would say a tit for tat law, but actually you're allowed, when you have a lot of things coming at you as far as bills or things of disruptive to your life, you can actually send out legally and lawfully an at bay burn of incense to have a break. But it's ill justice. It was not at that point. At that point, they had no munitions, they had no food, they had no agriculture, they had nothing. And they would say, what else do we do? It literally went down to, I need to go to the bathroom. And then it went to, I can't go anywhere because I walk down the street and I swear Susie Q makes me go to the bathroom. The Crip Bloods did that. That is where they found money, is people who could release them. Those were the games that they used to play back then. Now, the energy of that has a lot of foresight, and that is the Three of Wands. That is the Three of Wands. So where else do we go with this story? What else? So the Black Obsidian Rune, Wunho, it has a lot of joy. And then I see Faded. Fated means it actually was set into the universe and you can't control it. It's universal energy. So wool means that you can't do it alone, but it's so solid. An individual is so solid, they can't get broken. That's the warrior. That's the warrior that you need, that no matter what they throw at them, they can't be broken. So that is where a lot of people say, that's my heritage, that's my estate through and through, all in all, my mind, body, and soul, to actual probate court inheritances. That is what a lot flows through. That's what it needs to know and show. On that collection, there was something hidden that they have found that I can see at the Museum of Natural History, a stone so rare, you can't get it out. You can't get it out. And I'm seeing the Rosetta Stone. Where did that come from? That's the freeze. So as I'm seeing it, and it's tying all these historical everything together, the Rosetta Stone, when you look at it, cannot be translated verbatim. Verbatim. It's so hard, but I'm seeing, you look at it and it feels like Lord of the Rings. That's all I can say is when I see a glimpse of that. That is the ride of havoc right there. Sometimes you're not meant to go and get it, to torch everything, everything. It will ash everything, which means it's not time. It's not time. That's where the luck is. So in one of the videos, we'll talk about Egypt and the Rosetta Stone. It's almost like a living stone. So those who study minerals and stones and gems and stuff like that, when something is living, you can't explain it. You can't explain it at all. It's so wealthy, that stone. It's a gift when you find it in the raw. The defense on that stone can't be turned down because of its strength. So in that time period, I'm seeing a 1689 to a 1789 to a 1783. Something came in about that stone where you can't example out the power of it. It's similar to how we touch moldavite. And when you touch moldavite, which is a meteorite asteroid, there's something about this that makes you go haywire if you're sensitive to energy. There's something about this at night. Something comes alive at night in it. I'm seeing like almost like a spirochete in it. It's odd. Which brings me into World War II. So when something was spirochete and was odd and not even, you couldn't be it. You couldn't act like it. You couldn't sting it. You couldn't put the letter B, A, B, C, D, E, or anything like that. This is something that's meant to be hidden a little bit longer, because it will cause havoc. But we'll go into basics later. This could actually troll. That's what I'm seeing. When they're looking upon it in mediumship and showing me glimpses about the stone, they're like, there's a haste of a bit to a degree, and it shows me the horse at Salem, where the horse, the gelding, was so sick to ghoulish, it still gave birth. It was creepy beyond. This is where all of a sudden it was just man. It was just man. So I'm going to use a new tarot deck, and it's the Animal Spirit. And we're going to see what is this message that's trying to come through to end this portion of the story. All right. So I see frequency and Hertz with the dolphin. I see child's play with the otter. I see this is like the golden egg from the TV show. Literally, I can't even get it out. I can't even. I see an overlook owl. Owl. Because I keep hearing kick the owl out. Kick the owl out. The turtle is such hardened sneak through to get it done. The stingray is like the beautiful array that comes through that hurts. The dragonfly is the reminder that they're there with you. The snake is the one to give it a north. They're saying, look north for more answers, but it's hidden because it's guarded. This is crocodile. It's highly hidden. These are old guardians of these answers. The zebra is someone who, when they're actually out in a herd, they're watchful and guardful. The fish shows a rebirth of something. The hummingbird is the messenger. The crow is the reminder of old comes to new. And the horse, which I'll end here, comes to show that north gets anew. The north gets renewed some way, somehow, that there was something about how Independence Hall renewed the 13 colonies for a huge march through with the elephant. I had to go one more. It pushed me to the brink. The energy of that is tarantula. I don't even want to get there. That's what it says. Tarantula. So they want me to know, and you to know, that tarantula comes benounced. It comes benounced and benounced. Something will come through in the media and through word of mouth that makes sense of this current date and time of what happens. Now, to end this, we will scry, because they said that's really all you really need to know, is that it was a continuance on like and a be a noth of a star of a B. And that was the Revolutionary War with the Boston Harbor and the Tea Party to Bunker Hill and all the way down. It was something of the earth. All goes benounced to be. It goes to the Rosetta Stone. It goes to north. It goes to south, BE, to get a ghee, which is something, it's like a type of butter, a type of butter. And that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, my email is in the commentary box, and feel free to reach out, and we will all talk to you soon. Thank you so much.